Good evening, Josh, Sam, and anyone else who's watching. Welcome back to Football Manager on this YouTube channel. Welcome to the second episode of this series. This is Swindon't You Forget About Me, named as such because I have previously been manager of Western-super-Mare, Schalke and Hertha Berlin without actually being manager of my hometown favourite club, Swindon Town Football Club. So, welcome back. I said to you in the last slightly manic, hectic double team episode that I would be back here at the beginning of this season, of the next season rather, and this is where we are. I will run over what happened in the end of the last season. As you can see, we actually ended up coming lower than our previous season for the first time under my tutelage, and then I'll go through the new signings, and then we will play our first game. So, the Premier League last season, we finished 13th. Not as good as the season before, where we had finished 10th. We dropped quite a lot less points. We were something like, 7 points less. We actually had quite a strong end to the season, which sort of saved us a little bit. But let's just have a look at those. Where are we? Fixtures. Where we were last season, back one. When I was talking to you, avec Sam, we were around about here, or maybe even slightly further back. But anyway, we went on a 3-game losing run, and then we had an absolutely destructive end to the season. I was worried that we were going to get sucked into the relegation picture because we lost 2-1 to Cardiff, who ended up going down. We lost 1-0 to Southampton, who were poor, and we lost 4-3 to Charlton, having been 4-1 down at one point. All three very poor results. We then followed that up with a 1-1 draw at home against the then reigning champions Tottenham Hotspur, and then we proceeded to score 9 goals in 3 games as we smashed Huddersfield, who went down. We smashed my former club, Western-super-Mare, and then we battered Newcastle on the last day. So we finished the season strongly, but overall it wasn't that impressive of a campaign, and I've made some swinging changes. Let's have a look at that little story. Right, so history. This season, let's start with the outs. Not that you knew them very well, but let's start with the outs. So Miroslav Filipovic, he played a bunch towards the end of last season. It wasn't very impressive. I know he only got 5 appearances, but he had a very poor rating, and that was in those run of 3 good games at the end as well. He was poor, so we offloaded him to Championship Hull. Still somehow made a profit on him, so good. He's gone. Abdoulaye Kida, he was our goalkeeper since we signed him on a free during the League One days. He's not quite as good as our current first choice goalkeeper, plus he really wanted to leave, and so we sold him for £4 million to Forest Green Rovers, making him briefly the most expensive sale that Swindon has ever made. We got rid of him because I thought we might as well, if we didn't want to be here, we might as well get rid of him, plus we can get in some players to replace. So we also got rid of Patrick Marshall, £1.5 million for a 30-year-old winger who never really shone. We made a decent profit on him. He made a decent amount of appearances both seasons. Never really did as much as he sort of threatened he potentially could do. So off to Newcastle he goes for £1.5 million. I'm fine with that. We also got rid of former first team centre-back Erwin Zenzunen. A big old profit we made on him. He never really played brilliantly in the season where he played, where he was the first choice. He didn't then play. He was kind of second fiddle. He was playing as the third choice centre-back, or even possibly fourth choice centre-back in that second season, and was poor again. So I'm happy to sell him on to Hull as well for another £2.5 million. That's nice. We also made a frankly ludicrous amount of money on René Sentry, who has gone also to Newcastle and who's also already in their reserves. We signed him on a free. He made 38 appearances for the club, and we sold him for 1.2 million. And considering how poor he is, that's a very good return. So far we've only been selling to 3 different clubs, but we got rid of Martin Gosselin, or possibly Gosselin, but whatever, to Kiev Verona, who are, by the way, the aforementioned... Is it written on here somewhere? Nicknames? Does it not normally say nicknames? Yeah, okay. Well, it's not them then, but whatever. Anyway, we sold Martin Gosselin to them for £900,000. That is, again, a good profit for a player who was a good servant for the club, but never really shone too brightly, especially in the Premier League. He definitely wasn't cut out for that level. So £900,000, a nice bit of profit, and he's not that good, so fair enough. Off you go, lad. Thank you very much. We then sold Eva Pena, who, when I signed him, had a lot of potential, but because he then suffered quite a bad injury, and he's also already out for 6 weeks with knee ligament injury at his new club. Signed him on a free off of Real Madrid, sold him for 1.6 million to Rio Ave. I'll take it. We then had the unfortunate situation where I had accidentally given Almeida, our new right back, our new first choice right back from sort of halfway through last season. I had accidentally given him a minimum fee release clause, which Charlton activated. We made £4 million profit on him after only 27 appearances. It's not so bad, but it does mean we now have to go out finding someone to replace him, which was frustrating. We also sold Adis Yusuf Basic, who was not good enough, as you can see from his statistics there. £2 million, which is a profit on the free we signed him for. He was a good servant. I liked him. He was a good player. He's just not good enough, and I think Championship is probably his level. So thank you, Adis. We also got rid of Paulo Perez on loan for a year for £1.9 million fee. It's ridiculous. But yeah, we got him out on loan to Hapoel Tel Aviv. So good. And we also farmed out Dursan Askoy, who will be an excellent goalkeeper, to Bayern Munich, who I assume probably have a better youth setup than us, considering ours is essentially just one man and 3 different cones standing next to the Magic Roundabout in Swindon. So that's the outs. We actually made a sort of an overall profit this year for the first time in the Premier League, which is quite nice. We brought in Jean-Jacques Pelletier, who is a central defensive midfielder. He's only 18, but he's going to be the second choice. He's decent. He's going to get better. Brought him in for £1.9 million off Montpellier. He's going to be good. I like him. He's a good young fella. And I'm looking forward to having some sort of young players to bring in. That really does help things as well. We also brought in Martin Novotny, the left winger, is where he's more suited, off of Southampton. They signed him for £275,000. We signed him for the same amount of money. Hopefully he'll do better for us than he did for them, but Southampton last season were a bit of a shit show, so hopefully we can get some more out of him. I also signed Milan Gilic. He comes in from Dundee United, I believe it was, for £3.4 million. They didn't make very much more money on him. I would have, if I was them, I would have wanted to make a lot more money, considering he's a decent young player. He'll be playing in midfield. Lots of people thought we wasted a lot of money on him, and I expect Sam would tend to agree, but we were really lacking in midfield options, and so a good player like him coming on the market, I thought, yes, I'll pay that money, and I did. We then signed Rui Costa, the Portuguese 18-year-old. I signed him for, was it 1.8 million? Yeah, so quite a lot of money. He's gone straight into the under-18s. He's already improving a lot, which is nice. Maybe later on in the season, we'll send him out on loan somewhere. But he's one for the future, hopefully, at least to make some money back. Although, I don't know, if we paid a 1.8 million, he's going to have to be quite good to get some money back off him. But yeah. So to fix our left wing problem, we brought in Luizinho, 21 years old. He's £1.7 million from Internacional. He's probably the second choice, or maybe the third choice, because we also have was it Novotny who came in? Yeah, who's a left winger as well. So we've got 3. We went from having 1 decent and 1 terrible player on the left to having 3 decent players. So that's good. He's only 22, 21, so he's only going to get better. That's good. Then we signed Paulo Ortega, left back from Leicester City. We paid what they paid for him, and he will be the backup to Borgo. I'm happy with him. He's also he's not a homegrown, but he's a good young player, and we'll take him. That's fine. We'll probably sell him on in a couple of years when we get someone better. But as a backup, he's fine. We then signed also Bjorn Danels. He's kind of a left. Well, he can play both right wing and centre midfield. Brought him in for £4.2 million, which is probably too much money. But again, we were struggling for midfielders. So I got him in, and we'll see what we do with him. He'll probably end up being a disappointment, but but whatever. Speaking of players who won't be a disappointment, Thomas Dolezal. He was the first player to come in an attempt to fill the gap left by Almeida. Was his name Almeida? So signed him for 350k off Javalench. He's going to be good. I think he's looking nice already in pre-season. He's got all the kind of... He's very functional, and I think that's fine, really, for where we are at the moment. We want to just try and solidify ourselves as a mid-table team before we start pushing up towards Europe. We also signed Gareth McFerrin, a centre-back also off Dundee. So Dundee have done fairly well out of us. I feel like we got him for much less than he's worth. In actual terms, as opposed to the player that we paid them a lot of money for, Milan Djilic. So, yeah, and he's good. He'll just slot in, give us another option at centre-back, considering we lost quite a few defenders in the summer. He'll do a job in and around the team. We signed then Tommy Johansson on a free, another Dane. Got him off of Arsenal for a free. Don't know quite why they bought him, really. He's really good and just didn't get a game for them. We nearly halved his wage as well. I think he used to be on about £30,000, so we got a good deal out of him. And then we also brought in Velimir Barisic, the right back. He's Croatian. I just signed him for £5 million. Again, Sam will probably say that's too much money. He's made, obviously, the classic career move of a season-long loan from Dinamo Zagreb to AFC Telford in the Championship, where he did very well. Now he's ready to make the step up, I think. And hopefully he will probably be the first choice right back. I don't know, but he's got scope to improve, and that's what I like about him. So yeah, that's the squad at the moment. The Premier League, they've played. We're in that sort of weird situation where they've played one game, we're playing in the second game. So our first game this season is against Forest Green Rovers, who came second in the Championship last season, earning their promotion back to the Premier League, along with West Brom, boring, and Norwich City, also fairly boring, considering we could have had Ipswich and Sheffield United up there, or even potentially Carlisle. Everton doing very poorly down the bottom there, Birmingham dropping down again. The plan for this season for us, is to try and improve on last season. Last season, we ended up actually being something like so we were the seventh or eighth top scorer in the league. We did very well. We just conceded a fuckload of goals, and that's really where we need to tighten things up. We ended up, we came 13th, which initially seems very poor, and it was a disappointment, but we can see we scored so many more goals than the season before that, where we came 10th, but we only scored 46. So really the key here is to try and stem the flow at the other end whilst continuing our goal scoring form. On that note, I didn't sell or sign any strikers. I was trying to get rid of Alkvist, you might remember. But he eventually decided he requested to stay, and I thought, well, instead of going out and looking for a new striker, I'll just keep him. I've still got Kane Bowers, who is, he's good for the odd goal, and the other two who both ended up scoring over 20 goals last season, so I'm pretty happy. Right, so let's tidy things up here, send out a team, and hopefully we can, where are we going to go? Hopefully we can start the season off with a good win away at the Forest Green Stadium. Not a happy hunting ground. Last time they were in the Premier League, we got battered 3-0 whilst playing here. So that's a thing, and it could happen again, just to remind you. So let's go like this. 2 defenders on the bench. We will put in What will we do? Gaynor's looking pretty tired, so I might start with Novotny on the left. Bring Gaynor onto the bench. We will have Daniels as well. Bowers will be sub-7, and we'll have... What else are we looking for? We've got all these attacking options, so we'll put Jean-Jacques Pelletier in there as well, although he will go down there. So, looks like a fairly balanced squad. Somehow 2 of our players don't have numbers, but whatever, we'll deal with that when we come to it. Shehu, he's still going to... Yep, that's good. I like it. So, what have we got here? Well, fine, go. Don't care about that. It's been a while since I've actually commentated over a game. That's why I thought I would do a quick rundown of the new signings plus a game, because we had a long chat with Sam last video, but nothing to watch. If Josh, you enjoyed that, we'll do it again for sure. If anyone else out there in the wider world listened and didn't enjoy it, tough. This is for us to enjoy, and you're also welcome along, but we're the main focus of the fun. Right. Forest Green, early doors, attacking, not happy. We've also, so I don't know, I didn't mention it, right? So at the beginning of last season, I we scored a goal straight away. Is that an own goal? No, Torsten Becken scores. They chant his name. He's just signed he's just about to sign a new contract with the club, so that's great. Very, very happy. Lovely stuff. 1-0 up after 11 minutes of the new season. That's good. So I was saying that the county ground is about 15,000 seats, give or take a few hundred this way or that way, depending on what the game is feeling like at the moment. We were obviously packing that out in our first season back up in the Premier League. I requested at the end of that season for us to be to expand the ground. They said yes. Oh, so we've also bought the ground. So the ground we used to be paying something like 200 and something thousand pounds in rent every year to the council for the ground. We bought the ground out, so it's all ours. I then asked them to expand it. They said okay. They would add 2,000 seats. It was penciled to take something like a year. I think it was supposed to be done in about June this year. And then just before they finished it, they said, actually, we're going to increase the stadium by 7,000 seats, which means that the ground will probably end up being about 21,000 seats once they have finished all this extra work that they're doing to it. But it does mean that it won't be ready until the end of November. So we are currently playing in a reduced 13,000 seat stadium. Hopefully it won't be too long until we get to November and we can fill up our new spanking new ground. It's also, we've got the youth and training facilities being upgraded. I've also done a lot of work on asking them to give us more scouting range, to give us more in terms of recruitment for youth players, the youth recruitment network, and our youth training budget I've also increased to the max that I can possibly do it at the moment. So we are doing everything we can in the background to make the club a little bit more... Oh, what a cross from Novotny, what a header from Shehu. Excellent stuff. We are 2-0 up away to Forest Green Rovers. In the Premier League, this is not a Premier League fixture. This is, in fact, in the real life, this is a League 2 fixture, which is in itself ridiculous because Forest Green are not a proper club. Come at me, Forest Green fans. It's quite embarrassing that Forest Green in this universe that I'm currently playing my game in, they have a 17,000 seater stadium. The current Forest Green Stadium, we're going to ignore the fact they scored there. The current Forest Green Stadium in real life is something like 2,000 to 4,000, and that fits most of the current village of Forest Green into it. So I don't know quite where these 13,000 extra fans are coming from, but they pack it out every week. God damn them. Anyway, Swindon are the soon to be the preeminent club in the West Country. I think we pretty much already are, but. Oh, go on. Unlucky. So, yeah, it's all going well. It's nice. Things are looking up. I'm a little bit more confident this season. I think I've patched up the holes and the problems that we had last season. We were not let's play calm. Let's do a calm thing because I see that our defence are playing quite nervously. We were very hit and miss. We seemed to be basically that our starting 11 was good enough on its day, as you saw by the last 3 results of the season. Our starting 11 was good enough on its day to beat pretty much anybody in the league. But we also just had off days. Particularly last season, we lost a lot of games and dropped a lot of points against weak teams. Like I mentioned that in the last 7 or 8 games, we lost to one team that got relegated and 2 teams that were within danger of relegation up until 2 or 3 games of the season. So we lost against a lot of teams that we shouldn't have lost against, and we did sort of I'd say probably admirably against the teams that we would expect to be battered against, and that's good, I suppose, because we did get some sort of we got a few rousing victories. For example, the 6-0 win against Western-super-Mare, who were in contention for Champions League qualification until the last day of the season. But then, we also got beat 3-0 off of teams that got relegated, like Sunderland, for example. So it's not this season. I'm hoping we can get a little bit more consistency and just become a bit more bullyish, flat track bullies. I just want to be able to beat the teams below us, the teams that you'd expect to win against. So hopefully an away win against Forest Green would set us up well for that. Now, Wilmot, Brookfield, Barisic, Wilmot, crosses, surely. Shehu scores again. Lovely stuff. Yes, please. Ooh. I nearly signed out. I think I nearly signed out. He's either a left back or a right back, but another Albanian player. But I decided we've already got one. We only need the one. Everyone loves Shehu with his goal in off the arse of number 2 there. Lovely, lovely stuff. Let's bring off Shehu now, actually, because he's... Oh, well, should I? Because he's going to be... He'll then moan. Let's take off Bourgault. Let's also bring on Pelletier then. Let's do that. Because if you take off anyone who's on 2 goals, the press go, oh, but he was on a hat-trick. He's a winger. He's only ever scored about 8 goals in his entire career. I'm better than you, shut up. But apparently, I'm not better than these fools. No, thank you. Oh, great. Oh, no, okay. I didn't see the guy there. Number 2 was hidden behind the X there. Good stuff. So, after one game, we are third. I don't want to... Did we just get an injury? Not to sort of dampen spirits after what is looking like it will be a fairly morale-boosting win. But last season, I think we won our first 3 games, or maybe drew the first one and then won 2 after that. And then ended up finishing... Gaynor ended up finishing 13th. So it's not... Pelletier would have been a sensational introduction to life in Swindon town. But no. Lopez, White. They have players. I found... I was looking for left-backs for quite a while, and their left-back's all right. And I was thinking about trying to sign him, and I scouted him, and they said, oh, yeah, he'd be willing to come. And and I looked at his current wage... And Forest Green Rovers are currently paying their, I think, Argentinian left back something like £38,000 a week whilst he was in the Championship. So things are broken. Oh, come on. We could have been 4 or 5 up here. I'm going to have a little sip of wine. Barisic. Shehu. Oh, Barisic now. Gives it to Gilic. Shehu. I mean, if he gets a hat-trick... Was it the fear of the press that made me leave him on? Or was it just my sensational managerial skills? Who knows? Lloyd Wilmot. Crosses, Becken. How's he hit the crossbar? All he had to do was tap it in. Gaynor. Ortega. Pelletier. Gilic. Oh. I gotta say, we are looking, and I know it is against newly promoted Forest Green Rovers, but they are a moneybags team. They've got more money than we have. We're looking decent. We're moving the ball around in a way that pleases me. We're not sort of just the defence is not just dropping the ball into the net. Our one goal that we conceded, notwithstanding, And we're looking like they're looking up for it. I like Jean-Jacques Pelletier. He's got the hallmarks of Swindon legend. Speaking of which, the second manager to get Swindon promoted to the Premier League, and the first manager for us to ever keep them up in the top division. Ben Wheatland, that's me. I am only favoured personnel, of course. My hope this season, by the way, is to sort of finish in the top 10, if possible, and to try and win a cup. Last couple of seasons, we've looked dangerous. Last season, in fact, I think we could have probably won the FA Cup if we'd just had the rub of the green a bit better in our 5th round tie with Liverpool. This season, I'm hoping This season, I'm hoping that we are able to push on a little bit and start challenging for things like cups, because I want to just get into Europe. I noticed that Man City finished 10th, but lost the FA Cup final to Arsenal, and therefore obviously snuck into Europe. Based on the fact that Arsenal had already qualified via the league for Europe. So I'm hoping that we could try and do something similar. The only other time I've ever been Swindon manager on Football Manager was it was a very long time ago, but it was also on Football Manager 12. There we go, 3-1 win, lovely stuff. And we ended up getting to the FA Cup final and losing to Everton whilst we were in the Championship. So it's definitely possible. I'd like to bring some glory to Swindon if possible, ASAP. Classy Shehu on form. Gillett makes his debut. Nice. Let's have our little post-match presser. No, I had the confidence we'd keep it out. He was good, actually. He played very well. Irvin was excellent. We'll never stop looking for ways to improve the team. Let's just look now quickly at the boardroom, just so we can see. So, yeah, we're looking at the 27th of November for our expanded stadium, and our new facilities will be done by the 17th. We don't have any staff that we can really sign. In fact, we probably have too many staff, according to the game. What was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, yes, so fixtures. We'll tell you when we're going to see the next game. So, we now have Chelsea at home. That's almost certainly going to be a loss, and then so we've got a pretty tough run, excepting for the York game, which is an away game to a League One side, so we should be able to win that. We have Chelsea at home, Liverpool away, Arsenal at home. So maybe we'll come back when we get Newcastle Charlton, because that seems to me to be the next point where we'll definitely be fighting for 3 points in the league. So yeah, we'll come back Newcastle Charlton. Otherwise, see you later, guys. Hope you enjoyed the first episode. Sorry it's been a while. Life gets in the way sometimes. See you later, bye.